So, Mark, did you see that Holland America has their 4 month world cruise? $22,000 gets you a cheap cabin, you get all the food, all the cool stuff. And Travel and Leisure points out that it is cheaper than renting an apartment in Manhattan. I don't know if that's such a good comparison.
Yeah, with all things considered, but what kind of size are you getting in the Manhattan apartment? Sadly, I think you'd probably get a little bit more space than you would on the interior room on a cruise ship, but I couldn't think of anything more torturous than being on a cruise ship for half a year.
But you get to see the world. They sail all around the world, across the Pacific, the Atlantic, Africa, the Mediterranean. What's better than that?
Not eating buffet food for 4 months.
So, one of the interesting developments over the last few years is these e visas that are going to be required for the UK and Europe. They're a response to America's ESTA, and all of these start with an E, which is super confusing. Europe has their ETIAS, which has been delayed and it's not implemented yet. But basically, it's a response. We require them to fill out a form, get an e visa ahead of time. They're requiring us. The UK actually started this, their own version, which has a separate name, and it began. But one quirk is they were requiring transit passengers going through the airports to get this, and now they've sort of reversed track on that.
Yeah, which is stupid. If you're never leaving the airport, then what do you care? They can just hop on another flight. There's no reason for it. One thing is like if you check luggage, which you should never check luggage unless you have to, but if you did and they weren't, carrying the luggage forward, like let's say you had two different awards booked or two different airlines, then you would have to exit the secure part of the airport and go get your luggage and then go back through security. So then you would still need it. But I think that's kind of a more rare situation. So it's good to see them walk this back a bit. I wish everybody would just be okay and not require these little visas or at least not charge a fee like Singapore does, where you just fill out a form online the night before and you're fine to go. But everybody's got to play their games.
Yeah, and security in the UK is the worst. I hate it. Of course, when you transit, you still got to go back through security anyway, so you don't avoid it. Gary Luff mentioned something that I had never really tried is that sometimes it's faster to leave at your terminal if you're transferring terminals in Heathrow to leave, take the tube, and then get back in as opposed to taking the buses. I've always just taken the buses, which do take forever, but you couldn't do this if you didn't have the authorization. It's only good for 2 years, and I suspect that most of us who travel a lot probably should get one.
Yeah, I think he makes a good point too. Like, get one even if you don't plan to travel through there, because if you need to make a last minute change, or let's say something, you get shifted on an airplane like I did, where you're flying through different areas and stuff, it's just best to have it so you don't get stranded. Kind of like we talked about a month or two ago, where people got stranded in the Bahamas because they got rerouted coming back from Puerto Rico. Most people didn't have their passport on them, so it's good to always have your passport if you're flying over international waters, because you just never know what will happen.
And this is a huge change for those of us who just traveled thinking about going to Europe or the UK. You just go there. You never had to do anything. So we had to be aware of that. Europe will implement their version probably sometime this year, but the timeline isn't quite clear yet. It keeps getting delayed. So we have a little bit of a reprieve from that. What we don't have a reprieve from is Hilton blocking lounge access. And Hilton is sort of weird because diamond status gets you lounge access. Gold status only gets you lounge access if you're upgraded to a room that has lounge access. So there's a differentiation between the two of those. But they also added recent terms excluding certain lounges from both gold and diamond. Things like the Sakura Club at Conrad, Washington, D.C., Club Signia at the Signia Hotels, Citrus Club at the Arizona Biltmore, and the clubs at the All-Inclusives as well.
Yeah, and they made it, confusing. And the article from Loyalty Lobby didn't do a great job of explaining it any better. So it just seems like the lawyers got a hold of this and kind of mucked everything up. I don't know that any of this is super new. It's just kind of them fine-tuning, or at least putting it down in words, in writing, that this is the case and they can do this. I feel like all of these, or most of these properties, already did something similar or were playing games, and they're finally put it into their terms that they can get away with it. So it's sad to see, but it just makes everything so difficult with Hilton. Like, you don't know what you're going to get at each property. The dollar amount changes if you're in the US depending on the brand name, and so it's just not streamlined in any way, which is frustrating for people.
Marriott has very similar things. There's definitely properties that carve out their clubs, that they're premium upgrades, things like that, Ritz Carlton, stuff like that. But what's interesting is Signia. Signia is not a huge high end property, and they've even converted regular Hiltons like the one in Orlando and Bonnet Creek to Signia. You would think that that wouldn't be excluded, but it is. And always a reminder to look at the terms. You're right, it sucks when you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, we've seen Hyatt do similar things, maybe not with lounge access, but we've seen them play games with awards, at least certain properties. I don't think Hyatt Corporation is doing this. It's individual properties name their standard rooms something a bit different, like Flower View or Garden Room, City View, like just to make it so it doesn't go into that category where you can book it with awards, which I always find annoying. So everybody has their little things. It just is, it's even worse when it comes from corporate and it's very confusing and they don't word it well at all.
The best is the Hyatt Place high floor room. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are the best, especially at
third
an older
floor.
property. That's a downgrade because the elevators are so slow. If you get like the sixth floor, you're waiting like 30
Yeah.
minutes to go to the elevator. So, on to some credit card news. The Alaska Airlines business card has an increased offer 75,000 miles after 4,000 spend. Plus, mark their world famous companion fare, which they always say is world famous on every marketing piece.
Yeah, I think I've used one in all the years I've had an Alaska card. It doesn't come in to use too often. I think it's really good for going to Hawaii or something like that if you're on the West Coast. I think a lot of people take advantage of those. It's just you got to find the certain fare buckets, all those things, and it has to be on Alaska Metal, which a lot of people use Alaska Airline miles to fly American or other partners. They don't use it for Alaska so much. So I think it goes to waste quite a bit. And then paying the $100 fee makes it feel like it's not such a great BOGO deal.
Yeah, I've used them a couple times. It's good if you can use it. Like you said, it's not any reason to get a card. It comes with every card. They're always marketing it. So I don't think they've ever had a version where it didn't have the companion fare on there. So it's just sort of like icing on the cake if you can use it. But 75,000 Alaska miles, certainly very valuable. A lot of great partners, One World members. So it's always a good time to pick up Alaska miles. I've always had great use for them. One last thing to keep in mind, the $95 annual fee is not waived.
Some people have trouble with Bank of America getting approved. Other people, it's like whatever you want, they get. If you want to open up, if you don't have any type of cards with Bank of America yet, you might want to open up a business checking account or a personal checking account. It does help the approval process if you're playing the long game with them. But plenty of people, this is their first thing with Bank of America and get approved as well. So you just kind of never know with them, but it's hit or miss.
They're kind of like American Express. Once you're in with them, it's very easy to get approved, depending on other factors, but much easier once you're in with them. So, getting a bank account is a great strategy. It's something that we've both done, I think, in the past. So, it's helped us out a lot.
Yeah, or a CD. Sometimes they ask for on deposit. I don't know. Some people don't want to do it, but it's another option for business cards.
So, we thought we would tell you guys where to find all of the best American Express card offers out there. American Express has long been giving the better offers, not through affiliate links, most of the time, not through referrals. Sometimes they are, though. So, it really just depends. I guess the key is that you should be very proactive in trying to find the best offer. If you just click through, you're probably not getting the best deal. And you have a series of articles and links here that we'll put in the description so people can find what is the best for each of these cards, the gold, the platinum, those types of cards.
Pay attention when you're watching these influencers on Instagram or YouTube, or you're reading their articles. If they don't point you to these things, that should be a red flag, because the normal offers are sometimes like half of what we're seeing on these type of offers, and they get big commissions from the affiliates, several $100s, and that's why they're pushing it versus putting their readers, viewers, listeners first. And that's what we want to try to make sure that you guys are aware of these. Like the business platinum, the regular link might be 150K, but if you use a personal referral, you can get 250K. And these articles will give you access to those. We use reader referrals. We update them almost daily. And one, we're helping out readers get their referral points, bonus points. And then we're also helping out other readers who get a better offer. So, you got to pay attention. And if you do have a higher referral offer, definitely check it out and share yours there. And I know you on Miles to Members, you guys have info about the Resi offers. I haven't gotten around to writing those up, but that's another option. If you spend a lot on dining, then the Resi offer might work out better for you versus the bigger welcome offer up front.
Yeah, I guess the key is just do your due diligence, and also you look at referrals. referring, your player to your spouse, stuff like that. A lot of times you can double dip and get a better deal by doing that. So with American Express specifically, you should definitely open your eyes, not just click and apply, spend a little time, search, find the best offers, and find the people who are willing to show you the best offers to listen to, because we've been doing this a while. There's a lot of people who are willing to talk like we are here today. So it's not just us.
Yeah, there's quite a few that do it right, and there's even more that don't.
Well said. So on to some miles and points news. Hyatt released their Bonus Journeys Winter 2025 version, extra 2x points on qualifying stays at 1,600 participating hotels, and then 3x at Hyatt Place or Hyatt House hotels. You have to register by March 10th. It goes through March 28th. Yeah, this is, again, Hyatt not really doing great in the promo department the last year or so.
Yeah, which is weird because they used to be kind of innovative with it, or they'd come out with something that was better than everybody else. This feels just like what Hilton does, double or triple points on everything, but they give you a lot more points. So, and a better value. And Hilton points are worth less, no doubt. But when you're getting 40x versus 3x or 10x, it levels out, and Hilton probably comes out ahead with these type of things. So it's not the best for Hyatt. And then the caps are kind of crazy. 10,000 on the 3x, 10,000 bonus points on the 3x for the Hyatt Places and Hyatt Houses, 20,000 on the 2x on everywhere. I feel like that's kind of low. Like you're going to hit 10,000 somewhat easily, especially if you're a road warrior or you have some work stays. You're going to hit that cap in the first week.
Yeah, they've definitely had more generous caps in the past, more generous earnings in the past, some great promotions. We've talked a lot about the rebate on the credit card. Come on, Hyatt, let's do those points rebates
again.
To that? Yeah, those were the best.
Yeah, it was like every fourth quarter, like clockwork, you got that one, and we haven't seen it since COVID, I don't think.
So a United TravelBank related story. Apparently, they were double billing when you would redeem TravelBank credit. So essentially, if you were using a credit card along with your TravelBank credit, they would just bill your credit card for the full amount. And they've sort of figured this out. They're emailing people, letting them know that they're refunding it. So they are being proactive about it, but people should check to make sure, because, sometimes this will get missed. So you better check and make sure if you recently redeemed TravelBank.
Yeah, they're being proactive after they got thousands of chargebacks. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, let's say the flight was $300. You had a $200 TravelBank credit either from your Amex airline incidentals, or maybe you're using that IHG card perk that we talked about last time. And, you pay the overage with the $100 on your credit card. The receipt shows 200 and 100. And maybe even your credit card showed 100 initially. But when it settles, it was charging 300. You go back, check your TravelBank amount, and that was drained too. So they were calling United and being like, hey, you guys double billed me. Oh, no, that's not what it shows on our end. Here's the receipt. Oh, you got to file a chargeback with the credit card company, and nothing we can do about it. So after, a week of that, they finally came out and said, hey, our bad.
Yeah, it just takes a million people to do it. I hate that when you call and they're like, oh, it looks good on our end. Well, then find somebody who can figure out what the heck happened. But yeah, I'm glad that people are getting their money back. At least they fixed it. And yeah, just a reminder, you got to be proactive at looking at your statements, your credit cards, all the credits that we're doing when you're playing this game. That's why a lot of people have spreadsheets and they track everything. A lot of times you have a lot of moving parts, and it can be easy to overlook simple things by just making sure that the charge is correct.
Yeah, I messed up. I forgot to do the Harrison Ford and shrinking. My bad.
So onto some cool a bar in the middle of the Redwood Forest in California that you have to take a train to, a 25-minute train ride. Tickets are like $50 round trip. You get to this bar out in the middle of the forest. They have drinks. You can even get charcuterie plates. The scenery is amazing. They say that they do it year round, so they have heaters and stuff, but they recommend the fall. Looking at the pictures of this is right down my alley. I'm surprised I never heard of it.
I want to go to Northern California just to go to this. I even messaged our friend Ian Snyder about it because he lives not too far away, but not super close. And I was like, hey, we need to do this. I think it's a really unique experience. They usually have like a band or somebody out there. And just the fact that the only way you can get to it is by train and it takes 30 minutes is so cool and unique. I definitely want to do it.
Adults only to go out there, so you can't bring kids, although they do allow pets, well-behaved pets, they say. We like unique bars. That's sort of a thing that we both like. And I think probably I do more because being friends with you, you sort of exposed me to it. And this is right down that alley for anybody who likes that sort of stuff. But it's Mother Nature too, and it's unique. I wonder how many people go out there every night.
Yeah, I bet you it's more of a boutique-y, intimate feel versus going to a regular bar. And then, Redwood Forest, that's cool. And on its own, people drive just to see that. And you're going to get to have drinks and listen to music in the middle of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, Redwood forests are amazing on their own. If you haven't been there, for people who have never seen a redwood or stood underneath a redwood and looked up at the majestic beauty, how massive they are. They're old. I don't know. It's just an incredible experience.
Or driven through one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You can do that too. I think at Lady Bird Park up there, you can drive right through the middle of a redwood tree. So definitely do that. Go see the train. Go do all of that. And let us know what you guys think about anything else we talked about today. The UK e-visa, finding the best American Express credit card offers, Hyatt's bonus journeys. Is that any good in your opinion? Leave a comment. Make sure to subscribe. You can listen in audio, watch on YouTube, leave a comment, interact. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you and enjoy your flight.